All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to something that is hopefully going to get less dislikes than my last video. Oh, dear Lord. Wow. I'm not going to go into the details, other than to say, if I hear one more time, how does it feel to be this wrong? Nothing has been proven yet. Nothing! No one's seen the document except for one journalist. It's dumb. And I'm going to call out one person in particular. Uh, the username is Bruce Curtis. Bruce Curtis, thank you. You replied, you made a comment, you effectively stated, you know what, I see where you're coming from, I think you're wrong. I replied to it, and then you replied back, and we have had a completely civil conversation, despite the fact that we both think the other person is wrong. Thank you. You are a wonderful human being. Everyone else, again, ugh. But that's not what this video is about today. Today, I want to talk about what I learned over Daily December that has nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, dear Lord. I'm also going to give a slight preview. There is going to be another video coming out relatively soon. Why would I be giving a preview of something that's coming out? Because guys, oh, look what came in the mail. Look what came. Oh, it's so good, guys. You have no idea. So I can't do an unboxing because as soon as it came, I ripped everything out. But I'm going to show the cool stuff in a different video. So that being said, let's talk about Daily December. Also, I feel absolutely horrible right now, and I have not been sleeping well at all. So if this is more rambly than normal, which would be impressive, to be 100% obvious, forgive me. Like I said, I literally cannot sleep right now. I've tried absolutely everything that won't kill me. Fun fact, a lot of sleep aids mess with your serotonin levels, which will kill me, so I can't take them. Anyway, show Daily December to the 2022. Like I said at the beginning, this was my 10th year doing Daily December. And I think the most obvious lesson that I learned from it was I 100% bit off more than I could chew, with the covering a song a day. Do I think that is an impossible goal for someone? Absolutely not. Do I think it's an impossible goal for me? Absolutely not. But where I was when I made the goal and tried doing it, and again, it lasted for a grand total of 2 days. I was not in a place where it was even healthy for me to attempt it, much less possible for me to succeed. And to be perfectly honest, that realization in and of itself was a huge blow to me. Because, fun fact about disability in general, I cannot claim to speak for every single person in the disabled community, but a large portion of the people that are disabled that I know, specifically disabled to the point where they can no longer work, one of the most difficult things you have to deal with is this feeling of uselessness. And this idea that you are just a burden to everyone. Especially in cases like me and thousands of other, hundreds of thousands, millions probably, of other people where you had a successful career. I guess it was success. I was good at what I did. Let's put it that way. Where you were working and then you get to the point where you can no longer work and you just feel absolutely useless and a burden, and you're constantly trying to find ways to kind of prove to yourself that you still matter. And it's not something that I personally have seen a lot of disabled advocates and things like that talking about. is this idea of just always feeling useless. I mean, every so often you will see posts where, it'll be those inspirational posts where they'll say you're not a burden, and that really is important because again, I 100% feel like I am just a waste of everyone's time because there's so little that I can do, and I don't live in my own house. I can't support myself. I can't even go shopping. I have to have my brother do all that. I live in his house. Um, so I constantly feel like I am worthless and a massive burden on everyone. Not just like my brother because he supplies like my power and food that I will point out I do pay my brother for food and I help out with utilities and stuff like that. Like I'm not freeloading here. Um, I can't do anything other than give some of my very minuscule disability to him. Um, so yeah, this feeling of like worthlessness and just not really being able to do anything is overwhelming. And it's one of the reasons why I do my D&D stuff. And it's one of the reasons like I have one friend in particular whom I will not name. But I have one friend in particular that they are. I'm going to see how vague I can be with this. They are on the internet trying to grow their internet presence so they can go full time content creation kind of the thing. And they've run into kind of a wall with their growth is basically just stagnated. Um, and it frustrates them, which it should. It's always annoying when you reach kind of a growth plateau and you can't figure out how to get out of it. That's also a completely normal thing in growth in general. You will always hit plateaus, and it's always frustrating. Like even if you know you're going to hit a flat plateau, it's always frustrating. Um, so I have actively reached out to this person and said, "Hey, I have a degree in marketing management. Like my particular degree is built around the idea of promoting growth of a company and creating, designing, organizing, and finishing projects that lead to that. Again, my degree, the official title, is Bachelor of Science Business Marketing Management, and the actual things that my degree says that I'm qualified to do, whatever that means, is marketing in and of itself and project management. Um, I was one semester late taking one of my project management courses, where the end of the course would have gotten me certification in project management. There's two different certifications you can get for project management that are recognized across the U.S. I have no idea if they're internationally recognized. There's like a lesser one and then a greater one. The degree, part of the degree would have given me, I think it was the lower one, and I could have eventually tested into the upper one. So I was going to be certified in project management in addition to being. They dropped that simply because it wasn't being super beneficial for my particular degree again because marketing it was a marketing management degree and not just a project management degree. Being certified in project management didn't really help getting into marketing, getting marketing jobs generally. They wanted to see you write copy. They wanted to see your experience, creating marketing campaigns and stuff like that. Not so much, understanding the batch systems that are used in manufacturing and stuff like that, which was part of my project management courses. So anyway, so I like literally, if I was to use the skills that I learned in my degree and the skills that I have learned from existing on the internet, despite the fact that if anyone has looked at my channel, I am minusculely tiny. Um, Like, I 100% should be someone that can help someone get bigger on the internet. And for those of you asking, why haven't you done it yourself? Two reasons. One, disability. I literally cannot put the work into my channel that would be required for me to grow it as fast as I would like. Two, my channel is growing, bastards. It's just growing very, very slow. But I'm very proud of the growth I've had. And Daily December is one of those things. So I have mentioned to this friend of mine constantly. Like, at this point, I've done it like a dozen times. Hey, I have this degree and I can't use it. If you would like help, even if it's just to bounce ideas off of someone. Because a lot of people don't realize just how valuable it is to have a sounding board that actually understands what it is that you're doing. Even if you already know what you need to do, just being able to sound off of someone else can make plans significantly easier. So I've made this offer multiple times, and this particular friend has said, yeah, no, I love that, and then nothing ever happens. That is one of the ways that I try to matter. And I tell this particular friend over and over again, by the way, because I'm on disability and, the government really doesn't like me earning money, this is not, like, I would never charge you for this, nor do I think the services that I can offer right now, because of my disability, because of my lack of experience, I don't believe what I can offer right now is worth charging for, and is significantly more valuable to me as things that I could put in a portfolio if we get a scientific breakthrough and they find a way to treat one of the dozens of things that are wrong with me, and I could eventually enter the workforce. Like, it would be significantly more valuable for me personally to be able to go, yes, I did this, we created this marketing plan and this business plan, and it showed this much growth in this thing. Like, things like that are really, really valuable when you're looking for jobs, especially in marketing. Being able to say, I created this plan. And I do have some of those. Like, I can go back to, I mean, we're going on over a decade now. When I was in retail, like, one of the ways I used to get jobs, I developed individualized training programs that showed a 60% profit increase in 6 months, and took a store that was performing in the bottom of the district to top 3 of the district, and sustained that growth until my departure from that particular store. Or, I trained, what was it? I can't remember now. I think I trained 6 people that got promoted into management, and I trained 3 managers that got promoted into higher levels of management. Like, those are the things that I used to talk about because I was really good at what I did. And when I would apply for a job, I go, yeah, my specialty is in team building and training plans, in addition to sales training. Like, that's what I do, and I was very, very good at it. So all that stuff is really valuable. But if I was to be cured tomorrow, which can't happen, but let's live in an imaginary world where it would happen. If I was to be cured tomorrow, went to a job interview and said, yes, I did this, this, and this. They go, oh, where was that? Oh, is it this job? It says that you worked at this job 10 years ago? Yes. What have you been doing since then? Well, I was disabled. They don't like that, first of all. Despite the fact that they're not allowed, legally, they are not allowed to say, well, we don't like that. They don't like that. Any gap in your employment history is bad just in general, because companies don't like to see that. And if I say it's 10 years ago, they're going to go, well, it worked 10 years ago. It wouldn't work now. Despite the fact that my training plans always work. Like, call me conceited, call me whatever you want. I have trained people recently in just really, really minor things where I go, yeah, try this. Whoa, just do what I say. Try this. And they do it, and they go, how did that work? I said, it's 15 years of training and sales experience. That's how it worked. And a degree in marketing management. that was mostly worthless, but I did get to learn a little bit of psychology, which was very, very useful. So anyway, going back to Daily December. When I got to the point where I wasn't able to sing the songs that I wanted, I was just feeling horrible about it. It hit me like a wrecking ball. Like it hit me like just horribly, because it reinforced that feeling of, oh my God, you are so worthless. You can't even set your own goals. And again, when I was singing every day because I was in choir, or when I was playing an instrument every day because I was in band, or when I was in stage shows and stuff like that, I very easily could have covered a song a day. Most of the songs I was covering were songs that I already knew and I was already very comfortable with. And so it would have been hard. When Twitch Sings was a thing, 2-3 years ago now, I could have easily covered a song a day using Twitch Sings. Because the format there was just very easy for me to learn this as songs. And I did quite often. I would see a streamer friend sing a song and go, wow, that would be super fun to sing with them. And I would learn the song. Generally, it would be a brand new song I'd never heard, and I'd learn it in a few hours. So going from someone that used to be able to just pick up music instantly to someone that was massively struggling to just sing songs I already knew was this massive blow. And for a little while, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to recover from it, because I just felt so disgusting because of it. And then I did the Hey There Delilah cover, which I believe was the next day. Like and this is the other thing a lot of people don't realize, especially about depression and anxiety. You can have these like massive existential crises that can change your life. Like 100%, you can go from on top of the world to wanting to unlife yourself. And it can take an hour. Especially with anxiety, because your brain goes about 400,000 miles a minute. And because I have permanent, what's it called? Is it hyper awareness? Basically, if fight or flight gets activated, hypervigilance, that's what it's called. When fight or flight is activated, all your senses get dialed up to 11 because your body believes that you're in danger. So your brain will actually, instead of like, having kind of like everything get kind of pushed into white noise and only hearing a few things, you notice everything. Like, the wind through the trees, a single, blade of grass, rubbing against another one. Like, everything going around you. Every little bit of movement you will notice and look towards. Hypervigilance is exhausting. Because of my PTSD, anxiety, and panic disorder, I am basically permanently hypervigilant. Which, if anybody in the comments says, gosh, I wish I could be like that. I would love to be able to notice everything happening. No, you wouldn't. It is by far one of the worst experiences I can have on a daily basis. Because it's not like, oh, I know everything that's going around. It's every time I walk into a room, I know every single window in the room, and I'm checking every single one to see who's going to kill me from there. And when I go to bed at night, I have to have something on that's making noise and providing visual stimulation. So generally I have to watch YouTube or Netflix or something, because if I don't have something that is overwhelming the natural white noise in my room, I freak out. Because something as simple as, I have an air purifier I actually have two air purifiers in the basement. One in the unfinished portion, and then one in the finished portion where my bedroom is and my computer room is and everything. So I have a constant air current in here. If that air current causes like the garbage in one of my garbage cans to shift slightly, I am instantly fully awake and ready to fight whatever it is that's trying to kill me. If a box slips, if I have, because I order everything online, I have boxes everywhere that I sometimes remember to collapse, and sometimes I just put them in random piles all over. If one of those shifts, in the old place I lived, it was a lot worse because we had a really really bad mice infestation, and so at night I would constantly hear them running around my room, and it would freak me out, and I'd have nightmares about it. It was really 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 bad. And so now my brain is just used to that. So anytime I hear any sound, even if it's like somebody gets out of bed at night, or half the time, because my sleep schedule is so screwed up, I'll be sleeping at like 9 in the morning. And so the rest of the house is awake. And like if they walk around, I can hear them because they're right above me. My bed is right below the living room. And the room itself is remarkably soundproofed. Like it's impressive that they don't hear me when I do like my singing and stuff like that, because I'm very loud, because I'm a theater actor. Um, but yeah. So all that stuff, like hypervigilance, is not fun. It is incredibly useful in the tiny situation of if your life is actually in danger. Hypervigilance can save your life, 100%. But for me, it's not saving anyone's life. And to be perfectly honest, for hypervigilance to actually save your life, you actually have to learn how to use it correctly. Because again, it's overwhelming. And someone put into a life or death situation that's not expecting hypervigilance, that's never experienced it before, is just going to be overwhelmed with the amount of information that's just flooding into you, and it will paralyze you. So, anyway, going back to this, I told you this was going to be rambly today, folks. Um, I I had this entire existential crisis of, well, maybe I was never a good singer, maybe I was never a good musician, maybe all of this has been a lie, maybe everything I've done is a lie, maybe all my training programs are just flukes. Like, look, this is how my brain works, folks. So I went in this really really deep dark spiral, and I got to a really bad place, and I finally said, this is unhealthy. I'm catastrophizing things, and I know, and I can recognize that I'm catastrophizing things. I need to stop. And despite the fact that I didn't want to, I went, you know what, I can't do this, and that's okay. I'm gonna stop trying to do this cover thing, and I'm just going to kind of go back to talking about stuff, because I was also starting to get a little bit annoyed back then, before the world, before Dungeons and Dragons turned into the apocalypse. I was upset that by doing a cover every day, I wasn't going to be able to have kind of my rambly videos where I just get to talk about stuff, because I don't get to do that on my channel a lot. I know most of the people that are here for my D&D content, specifically for my non-controversial D&D content. Like, people like, or my RPG content in general. Like, my most popular videos are my reviews. The Tal'Dorei Reborn review is my most viewed video. Power Rangers, or I think Power Rangers or Transformers, are my second and third most viewed videos on my channel. And they are, and I'm very, very happy about that. I love doing RPG content. I'm trying to find new ways to kind of get back into D&D Deep Dive, because there's not really a whole lot of new official D&D content that's coming out. And the one kind of side content I did for D&D most recently, because I did the Final Fantasy XIV cross D&D, and that was really really popular, and I had a lot of fun with that. And then I tried doing the Star Wars one, and I still haven't finished the class that I was doing, 8 months ago. And I'm hesitant to return to it, because that particular supplement, the more I read of it, the more I just became much more disenfranchised with it, because most of the stuff is not really play tested or balanced before it's published. just not particularly well. A lot of it is just churning out content for content's sake, and um, there is constantly, like, every week or two, new stuff comes out on that subreddit for this Star Wars 5e thing. Um, and it's not something I could ever catch up on. And as much as there were some interesting ideas in there, um, the emphasis is very much quantity over quality, and finding good quality stuff is getting really hard. And then there's also the thing that one of the things I liked about the Final Fantasy crossover is I went to the subreddit and I posted on there, and I was welcomed not only by the people on the subreddit, but the people writing it. Like I spoke to I've spoken a few times to the person that actually wrote the majority of it. I've spoken to a few of the mods on there. I go back as often as I can to to try and interact as often as I can. And I still have 2 new classes that I haven't covered from the Endwalker expansion. So that was a really positive interaction. The first thing I did when I went to the Star Wars 5e Reddit was I said, hey, you guys have a rule against self-promotion. I don't personally believe this is self-promotion, but I've gotten in trouble on other Reddits, so I wanted to approach you guys first. I have a YouTube channel. I do deep dives into mechanics and stuff like that for 5th edition to D&D. And I'm planning on going through your core book. I just wanted your permission to post my videos here so that your people could comment here on the Reddit. Like, they don't have to come to they don't have to come to my you don't have to come to my channel. I'll embed the videos here so they can watch it right on Reddit and that. I like to get permission, and I never heard anything from him ever. Not a we're taking it under advisement. Not a no. Not a nothing. And I stuck around the forums a little bit to talk to people, and they're just not welcoming at all. So that project is done. Yeah, going back to Daily December. I was getting kind of upset about the fact that I wouldn't be able to make my kind of rambly videos because I don't get to do that on my regular channel much. And Daily December, I've had quite a few really, really interesting rants and just kind of rambly, talky videos. I actually have a video that I've been meaning to make. I wanted to make during Daily December, and I kind of chickened out because it's a massively controversial subject that's going to upset some people, but it's very, very important to me. And now with this whole OGL nonsense, I'm probably going to delay it for a bit further because my brain cannot take the stress. Yeah. So overall, I came to the decision. You know what? I'm gonna stop this. It's okay. I had to talk myself down. It's like, it's okay. You're not a failure. You tried something. You failed. Remember, we tell everybody else failure's a good thing. Failure's a wonderful teacher. Well, failure taught my ass. And as soon as I made that decision, everything felt better. Like, absolutely everything felt better. It felt more like, up until that point, Daily December felt like a final exam that I hadn't attended class for, and I was just randomly struggling and doing everything I could to try and find a way to learn what I needed to pass this damn exam. And afterwards, I felt better. Everything about it just felt good at that point. And the one song that I covered after it, Hey There Delilah, I think is one of the best covers I've done on this channel. I think it turned out beautifully, and was a ton of fun to do. And yeah, it was just super, super fun. And then the rest of Daily December, I got to do a lot of interesting things. This was a pretty bad year for me health-wise. Again, in general, December November, December, January is a bad time of year just for um, people with depression specifically. Like seasonal affective disorder, I think is what it's called, or seasonal affected depression, something like that. It's called SAD. Is a real thing. People develop depression during the winter because of lack of sunlight. Um, Combine that with a lot of bad things have happened to me personally during the months of November, December, and January. Um, when I was committed to a psych ward, it was end of November, early December. My dad got diagnosed with cancer. Um, like a week or two after I got out of the psych ward in December. Um, I almost died when I was in the psych ward because the psychiatrist didn't believe me when I said bad things happen when you put me on antidepressants. And he put them on me, or put me on them, and should have killed me if I hadn't disobeyed his guidelines and gotten to a doctor that actually listened to me. I would be dead right now. And then I spent the entire month of December and most of January with full body convulsions. And then I got hooked on benzos 100% legally. I had a psychiatrist that put me on benzos to deal with the convulsions. And then because benzos are habit forming, not addictive, habit forming, I got hooked on them and I got to go through withdrawal. Like all this stuff happens right around this time. So it's a really, really bad time of year. I was feeling really bad from not being able to even make a decent attempt at my goal. 2 days is not a decent attempt. And so, yeah, a lot of this year was me just making, videos and just being like, hey, I feel absolutely horrible. I have a migraine. I'm really, really sick. Whatever. But I made it through. This is the second year that I have been able to release. I've been able to release a video a day on the day they were supposed to. Every other year, I'll have catch-up days where I put 2 or 3 videos out. So that was a plus. And I did have a couple ideas of stuff that I'm thinking about moving forward with. The one that I'm relatively certain I'm going to at least try once. I don't know if it will last far beyond once, but I got the idea during Daily this December. But so I have a friend, just one, only one. No, I have a friend. Excuse me for a second. I feel unbelievably sick to my stomach right now, so I'm trying to get stuff in it that's not going to make it feel worse. And ginger ale and water are what works. Sorry. So I've got a friend that I introduced to. I don't know if I introduced her to RPGs, but I definitely brought her back into them. And she started playing. She's one of the players in one of my campaigns, but she also plays in a few other ones. And every so often, she will come to me and go, "Hey, can you help me build a character? Because I know 5th edition really, really well, and I'm good at making weird characters." And she likes that. She doesn't want to play, the traditional paladin or anything. Like the character she plays in one of my campaigns is named Arai, and Arai is an Eladrin barbarian. Thank you, phone. Arai is an Eladrin barbarian that is Path of Wild Magic and uses a pike. So she plays a magic barbarian with a pointy stick. And it's a cool character. Like she just got to, like, we built the character to be a crit machine because barbarians get brutal critical at level 9, which basically means in 5th edition if you roll a crit, you roll double the number of damage dice you normally would. So pike is a 1d10. So normally, if you got a crit on a pike, you would roll 2d10. Well, with brutal critical from the barbarian, you roll an additional dice. It turns into 3d10. We also took the piercer uh, feat, which is one of the Tasha's Culture of Everything damage feats, which states if you're using a piercing weapon and you roll a crit, you roll an additional damage die. So as a level 9 barbarian, she rolled a crit and did 4d10 plus her rage plus her strength modifier damage. And took the big baddie that they were fighting at the time, the most difficult creature, almost took off, I think, like a quarter or almost half of its hit points in a single hit. And so she was super, super thrilled that she finally got to see the culmination. So anyway, the thing that she inspired is we've made a couple different characters together. And invariably what happens is she goes, hey, can you help me make a character? Yeah, sure. What are you thinking? She kind of gives me an idea of, I want to play a character like this. And my first question is, okay, want to try something weird? And that's always it. I didn't plan on it, but every character we've built, I've gone, okay, want to try something weird? And so I'm planning on starting a short series because shorts are really, really big on YouTube. And you know that thing about how I should be bigger than I am because I have a degree in marketing and project management? Well, using shorts as a form of advertising and as part of marketing is one of the things you should be doing if you're on YouTube. Even if you're not on YouTube, you should be using shorts or TikToks to advertise whatever you are on because it's significantly better than whatever you're currently doing. I will guarantee it right now. And there's lots of data to back it up. Shorts and TikToks are some of the most valuable marketing tools you have. TikToks slightly less so, simply because TikTok tracks everything about you, and you may not enjoy having that much information given out about yourself. But anyway, so I already have my first one planned, but it's going to be a short, and I'm trying to figure out how I can film it the easiest way possible, because again, if I have to do too much editing or anything, it's just not going to happen. My brain won't let me do that. But if I can find a way to record in the right resolution so that the picture is the right size, because the way shorts work on YouTube is if the dimensions are correct and it's less than a minute, YouTube will you can just, I think it's like you tag it #shorts and YouTube automatically turns it into a short. I also found out if you upload from your phone and you recorded something vertically that's under a minute, you can't actually upload it as a regular video. YouTube will only let you upload it as a short. I ran into that problem when I was recording one of my Hey, I'm Too Sick, because I didn't want that to be a short. I wanted that to be a regular video because shorts show up in your feed differently and some people might not see them. And a lot of people would see them that didn't need to, that it wouldn't make sense for. So planning on doing at least one, maybe turning into a series of, hey, want to try something weird? And then I describe the build as quickly as I can. And then the end of it is, so now you have a character that can do this, this, and this. Go have fun. I think it'd be a really, really fun series. It'd be something I'd be really, really good at. And like I said, I have the first one already planned out. I have a couple other ones that are based on some characters that I've built. But I think it'll be fun. So I'm gonna try and do that. I don't know how long it's gonna take before I can actually get one of those out. But if they work the way that I would like them to, I might start seeing some decent growth again without having to rely on drama or Critical Role releasing a new book. Because let me tell you, the Tal'Dorei Reborn, I got tons of subs from that. And again, the Essence 20 stuff, tons of subs from that stuff too. Renegade, love you guys. If you ever want to more formalize our relationship, totally open. Again, I don't ask for money, but free books would be nice because they're expensive. Um, so yeah, I'd like to see. To be perfectly honest, I'd like to get this channel to the point where I can monetize it again, because I was monetized at one point, and then YouTube changed the rules and they took my monetization away, which sucked. And now, fun fact: the thing that I thought would be most difficult to monetize, to get to the point where you can join the YouTube Partner Program. For those of you that don't know, there's a bunch of different things you have to do. Like you can't have any like copyright strikes or TOS violations, stuff like that. Community standards strikes is I think what they call them here. That's easy enough. Anyone can figure that out. But the two things that are probably the most difficult for small streamers is you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers, which obviously I've not hit. And in the past year, you have to have at least 4,000 hours of your videos being watched. And generally, it is easier to get the subscribers than it is to get the watch time. And for a long time, I thought I was going to be like in the 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers before I had anywhere near the 4,000 hours of watch time. At this point, the last time I checked, I think I was less than 500 hours away on the year, and that's 4,000 hours in a calendar year. So in 365 days, the previous 365 days, you need at least 4,000 hours viewed. And yeah, I'm getting remarkably close to that, because I do longer form content, and my most popular videos tend to be my longer videos. My reviews and stuff like that are definitely my most popular. So yeah, I'm getting closer and closer, and I would love to be able to monetize this channel again. Not because, again, I could use the money, but the government doesn't like that. I sincerely doubt I'm going to make much of anything off this channel, but being a YouTube partner makes it significantly easier for my videos to go out. Like, you get, as much as they claim that they don't do this, 100% they do. It is easier for people to find your videos if you're a partner. If bad things happen, partners have a slightly easier time dealing with them. Like if I get copyright trolled, partners have a slightly easier, and I emphasize the slightly easier time dealing with copyright trolls without getting a lawyer involved. So there are a lot of benefits beside making money off of this that would be really nice about being partnered again. And again, I used to be a partner. I'd love to get to the point where I could get a silver play button. I sincerely doubt I'm ever going to be able to get a gold. If anyone is unfamiliar, silver play button, you can apply to get a silver play button after you have over 100,000 subscribers. And I think someday I might be able to pull that off. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I think that's something that's possible. Gold play is over 1 million subscribers. It's never happening, folks. I'm never getting over 1 million subscribers. But 100,000, I think, is theoretically possible. Not super probable, but I think it's possible. So that would be just super fun. So anyway, as far as like the rest of the Daily December, like I said, this was such a rough year for me. I think as far as like actual content videos, this is probably one of the lowest amount of actual content videos I've made for Daily December, because so many of them were, guys, I'm super sorry, but I can't make a video today. I'm too sick. I'd have to go back through my other Daily December stuff to find out if that was really a thing, but it feels right. So yeah, it was a rough year. I'm really proud I was able to make it through. I'm still here. In beginning of July, I will have been doing this. I will have been doing everything for a full 10 years. I will have been doing this for an entire decade. I will be starting my 11th year of doing this, which was not something that I even considered when I started the channel. I mean, yeah, when I first started the channel, I thought it was going to be a Geek and Sundry vlogger and that I was going to become, a full-time YouTuber and, be the next Markiplier. For anyone that's been keeping track, that didn't happen. Nor do I ever expect it to happen. Especially after Markiplier started doing bullshit like his Choose Your Own Adventure. First of all, if you guys haven't checked that, it is brilliant. I mean, it's screw you, Markiplier, because it's amazing content, and it's incredibly creative. The amount of work he put into that, and the quality that he got out of those, because I think he's done it twice now, is just insane. I will never be Markiplier. But Markiplier, if you're watching this, make better life choices. Watch something better. But thanks for watching. But yeah, I'm never gonna be that kind of person, and I'm perfectly happy with that now. I would love to be able to work again. I really, really would. Again, this whole being disabled thing fucking sucks. I will never understand people that want to get on disability, because it is by far one of the worst experiences of my life. And I live in constant fear of a law changing. And this is the other thing that's super, super fun. Because my initial application was denied, not because I didn't qualify for disability, because when I first applied, I actually went and learned disability law in the state of Wisconsin, where I live, because every state's a little bit different. And so I actually found all the different statutes and everything, and I read all of it. And again, business degree, I know how to read legal findings and contracts and stuff. I can read all that stuff. It's not fun, but I can do it. And I also took a crash course in how to legally cite things when you are making things. So my initial application was according to, Wisconsin law, blah, blah, subsection, blah, paragraph, blah. It says this, this, and this. Therefore, it says this, this, and this. My doctors confirmed this, this, and this, and those things match. And I mean, I had a complete, really solid legal document for someone that was not a lawyer. Probably one of the better applications. And not only was it denied, but when I finally got to the point, which was expected, my disability I was claiming was mostly for mental illness, and Social Security does not like giving disability for mental illness. They would much prefer I be paraplegic than depressed and panicked. And fun fact, the thing that finally got me my disability is I had a seizure while in the waiting room of the government-paid psychologist that was supposed to decide if my mental illnesses were severe enough that I could be put on disability. Fun fact, the guy that signed off on me for my second application that was approved was the same dude that signed off on me on my first application, which he also said that he gave the exact same recommendation. Yes, he's disabled. Put him on disability. But the first ALJ, administrative law judge that I went up, lied because I pissed her off. And so she created a fictional charity event that I attended. The charity event doesn't exist. But she claimed that because I attended this fictional charity event that doesn't exist, my agoraphobia could not be real. And therefore, if my agoraphobia was not real, all of my other diagnosed disabilities were fake. And therefore, I couldn't be put on disability. So the reason I say that is living under disability, I don't even have to do something wrong. All that has to happen is somebody has to decide they don't like me, and they call up Social Security or they call up somebody and claim that I'm not disabled. despite the fact that I've already been approved, and according to Social Security, I'm 100% permanently and totally disabled. So I'm never getting better according to them. The right person calls up and says the right things. I get investigated and I have to prove all over that I'm disabled. And if for whatever reason I get a judge that doesn't like me, again, I could have done nothing wrong. Our disability system and our social security system is so fucked up in this country that all it takes is a judge not liking me for me to not only lose my disability benefits, which would be horrible, but also they could claim that I lied on my initial application and I would be required to pay back everything I have gotten since I was declared disabled. So I instantly become in debt in the tens of thousands. I think because I've been on long enough, I think I might be getting close to $100,000 that I've gotten. I get next to nothing, but I have been disabled for. Not only was the disability thing like I think 3 or 4 years ago, but I got backdated like a year or two because of how long it took for the disability to go through. So yeah, being disabled, you are in a constant state of fear because if you say the wrong thing, and they passed a law, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, in Wisconsin specifically, that they're allowed to go on social media and look at the posts on social media and claim and use those to support a disability fraud case. So if I say something on Twitter that they decide doesn't sound disabled enough, I can lose everything. Instantly go into debt. Bankruptcy doesn't get rid of stuff like that. That stuff just sticks with you forever until you die, or you find a way to pay it off, which when I can't make any money. So, yeah, so this whole being disabled thing, I'm constantly trying to find ways to make myself feel like I matter without pushing myself too hard, because again, I've already done that and I do that constantly, and without doing things that the wrong person could use to try and hurt me more. Because there are people in this world that 100%, if they knew where I lived, if they knew about my YouTube channels or anything, 100%, they would call up Social Security and lie their asses off, because they've done it before, just to ruin my life. There are literal people like that in this world. I know them by name. So yeah, it is living in a constant state of fear. But things like this, things like this new want to try something weird short series are good for me. They give me a creative outlet, which as a creative person, I desperately need. Even when I was working, I had to have some sort of creative outlet. For a little while, it was video games. Most of the time, it was acting or music in some way. Like I said, I was in a professional jazz band for a couple of years. I did theater a lot. I was constantly doing arts type stuff, and then I started YouTube. But anyway, so like I said, this is going to be rambly. I'm feeling really sick right now, so forgive me. But that's what I learned from Daily December this year. So I hope you guys found this at least slightly interesting. Again, Daily December has always been a positive force for me. And even this year, where there were so many bad things that happened as a part of Daily December, it has still been a positive force for good. And I strongly, strongly recommend everybody try something like this. Doesn't have to be Daily December. It can be NaNoWriMo, or just like a friend of mine is doing this thing called, I think it's called like Walk to Mordor or something like that. Basically, it's a thing you pay for, which blew my mind at first, but then I saw the stuff that happens, where basically you get a pedometer, and it connects to this app, and you pay a fee, and then every step you take, it actually shows the path that the hobbits took in the Lord of the Rings, going from the Shire all the way into Mordor. And if you can do it, if you can complete it in a certain amount of time, you get prizes. Like my friend, it's Kiri that did this, because she's one of her Daily December videos. She actually showed one of the things she got. She actually got this little letter of congratulations, and in it she has her own one ring that came with it, and I thought that was massively cool. So again, I'm not saying everybody needs to get a video camera and make a video every day for a single month. First of all, it's remarkably hard to do, especially if you are not used to speaking to a camera, if you're not used to speaking for long periods of time. It is a remarkably difficult thing to do, especially if you have to come up with your own ideas and other things like that. Me, again, I am so used to being put in situations where I have to kind of grab a crowd and get their attention and get specific information to them, mostly from management. That I'm always ready. Like one of my favorite stories. I had a boss. The last I think this is it was the second to last job I ever had before my disability got too bad. And I had to quit that job because it caused my depression to get so bad that I started becoming suicidal. But anyway, so I had this boss, and he is one of the worst bosses I've ever worked for. He was he was a liar. He when I quit, I applied for unemployment, citing a hostile work environment. He came in to because I had to go before we had to have a hearing for it, and he came to the hearing and lied through his teeth, like 100% falsified. He was under oath. He perjured himself, claiming that, because I remember going in and asking, "Hey, I'm really not doing well. I want to use the FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, to request some time off." And they told me point blank, "You don't qualify for the Family Medical Leave Act. You haven't been working for the company long enough," which technically is true. The FMLA only comes into effect after you've been working for a company for 6 months. And I was at month 5. However, I had worked for this company previously, and the FMLA does allow for repeated employment stuff to count for it. So 100% I did qualify. They lied to my face and told me I didn't qualify and said there was nothing that they could do. And then in the hearing, he said flat out, "No, we offered to let him take FMLA leave and he chose not to." And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" And the person overhearing, because it wasn't a judge, it was something else, but the person overhearing it wouldn't let me go, wouldn't say, "Well, that's a lie. Can you prove any of that? Because you told me flat out that I wasn't allowed to do that. I could only ask him questions." And the only question I could come up with was, "Are you trying to tell me that you told me that I could take FMLA leave?" And I couldn't come up with a better one. However, he lied so many other times, and I had such a shit ton of proof about it, that I got my unemployment without any issue whatsoever. So anyway, this boss did not like me because I was a significantly better manager than he was. And when I applied for the position at the store, he already knew who I was because I was famous in the company before because I was really good. So I came in, he's like, "Hey, I remember you. I think I used to go by, because we some of the top salesmen used to have nicknames that we would use, and I think I was called Jody the Jedi, or I was just called the Jedi. Yeah, laugh it up. And he goes, "Hey, you're the Jedi." I'm like, "Yes, I am." He's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I'm looking for a job." He's like, "Really? I thought you went to work for this other company." I said, "Yeah, it didn't work out." "Can I ask why?" "Yeah, I pissed off another manager, and she created a situation that got me fired." "Really?" "Yeah, no, she 100% lied to loss prevention, and like it was a whole deal. Um, Went to never applied for wrongful termination because it's at will, so I couldn't get rid of that. But I did get unemployment because it was bullshit, and it was really easy to prove. Um, and there was cameras that backed me up, and like she just blatantly lied. Anyway, so I'm looking for a job. He's like, yeah, sure. And I told him during the interview, I'm like, hey, I don't want to be a sales manager. I want to be an ASM. Because ASM's actual job was staffing and team management. And that's what I did anyway as a sales manager. So I'm like, I don't want to be a sales manager. I want to be an ASM. He's like, well, I don't have an ASM position open. I said, that's fine. Go ahead and put me in as a sales manager. That's what I was before. And then as soon as an ASM position opens up, I'll just apply for it. He's like, that's perfectly fine. He's like, I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you get promoted. So I get hired on, and I was a phenomenal salesman, but he wouldn't let me do any of my training. And so I single-handedly made almost all the sales in the stores. All the trackable sales, I think like 70 or 80% of them were under my name. And he wouldn't allow me to train the rest of the staff up. And so if I was to get promoted, I would be he would be screwed because all of his sales would go down the toilet. He didn't want that. So when an ASM position opened up, he did everything he could to ensure that I wasn't going to be able to do it. And so I applied for the position, and they were having interviews in the store I worked. And my manager forgot to put my name on the interview schedule. So when everyone else got told, hey, you have an interview on this date, I never got that notice. And what ended up happening is everyone else got their interview, and I was everyone else came in a shirt and tie and everything because that's how you dress for an interview for an ASM position. And I wasn't told that the interviews are coming or anything like that. And so after everyone else had their interview, his boss, whom I was on a first name basis, the district manager, went, hey, Jody, why didn't you apply for this job? And I said, I did apply for it. You guys didn't pick my application. And there was a conversation between the district manager and my boss. And my boss goes, hey, Jody, I'm super sorry. I didn't realize you had applied for this. Again, normal company regulations, you have to be with a company for 6 months before you can get promoted. I said, yeah, I know that. However, when I applied for the job, you told me I could do that. And when I applied for the sales manager position, and then I told you I was applying for the ASM position. So I don't know how this, but no, sure, it was a mistake. He's like, I'm really sorry about this. Because I know you haven't had any time to prepare for your interview, but if you want to come in and have an interview, we could let you, but I realize this puts you at a really bad disadvantage. I said, no, I'm ready. And he looks at me and he goes, what? I'm an actor. Auditioning is interviewing. Like it's the same thing. You say different things in it, but it requires most of the same skills. And as an actor, I am always ready to audition at a drop of a hat. So if you guys have time, I'm 100% ready to interview for this position. And his face kind of dropped because he's like, ha ha, I tricked you. And he's like, fine, I'll tell them you're ready. So I go in, and the three people there are the district manager, who likes me, my store manager, who hates me, and HR, who's not particularly fond of me because the last time I worked for the company, they hired someone who was a dipshit, who was violating labor laws and discrimination laws. And I pointed it out to them, and I said if they didn't do something about it, I was going to... I might have implied that I was looking at legal representation. HR doesn't like associates that know their rights. They never have. So I have two people that hate me, or one person that hates me, one person that's less than fond with me, and then I have one person that actually loves me because, again, he's known me for years, and I fixed 2 other stores in his district really well. So they're asking me all these questions. What do you do with this? What do you do with this? And I'm rattling off perfect answers. Because again, I'm totally prepared for this. I know the answers. I should have had my own store by then. And it had just been politics that had been keeping me out of it. So eventually, because I'm answering the questions, the HR rep is warming up to me really well because I'm giving the right HR answers. That means that her job would be significantly easier if I was put into an ASM position because I understand the law and HR well enough that before she has to deal with it, I can intercept a lot of the problems. And I'd shown through my answers that I was really good at identifying potential problems before they turned into something that required HR. So she's getting happy with me. District manager's already happy with me. My boss is fuming at this point. He's getting so upset. He goes, so, and he just cuts them both. So, Jody, if you're the ASM, but you don't have a sales manager, how are you going to fill that position? I said, well, I'll look at my associates. I'll figure out which ones. No, none of your associates are ready to be an assistant store manager. I go, well, one of the other things that I've done at every store is I create a network of friends. I network with the other stores around. So I would probably call, and I started rattling off store manager names that I was on a first name basis with. I would probably call T. Joe's or probably Frank over 1682. And I'm just rattling off this stuff that any store manager would know. But for a sales manager to know that seems weird. Again, I should have had my own store. So I'm just rattling off. He goes, none of them have anyone that'll hire you, that'll do it for you either. What are you going to do then? I go, okay. I will go to, and I named a restaurant nearby. I'll go to this restaurant. And everyone at the table goes, huh? Go to the restaurant, sit down at a table. And when the waiter comes over, I'll go, what do you recommend? And if they say, oh, everything is great here, I'll go, thank you. I'll order whatever I want and I'll leave. But if they give me an actual recommendation, my personal favorite dish is this. And then I'll get what they recommended. And at the end, I'll go, hey, by the way, really impressed with what you did. I've worked as a waiter. It's a rough time, but it's decent money. If you would like some money that's not reliant on tips, give me a call. I'd give them my card. I work at this store. We will 100% work around your hours here. So you don't have to worry about having to quit this job or anything like that. We will fit you in where we can. And like I said, not only will you get paid a decent hourly wage compared to what you get here, but you won't have to work on tips. And we have sales incentives. So in addition to making regular money, if you sell certain things, which I'm going to tell you right now, you 100% can do. Trust me on this one. You'll get extra money. I make an extra $50 to $100 a paycheck off of my sales, and I don't make that many sales because I'm a manager. Think about it. Let me know. We would love to have you as a part of the team. And the whole table is just flummoxed. The district manager is grinning ear to ear because a lot of people don't realize good waiters are phenomenal salesmen and bad waiters are horrible salesmen. But waiting is a sales position. Yes, it's customer service, and yes, you have to be nice, but a good salesman will improve the sales of your restaurant because they can recommend specials. They can recommend dishes that have higher profit margins. They can literally just do what I used to do, which is called relationship sales, which is basically I would work more on fostering the relationship between a customer and myself than I would looking for the highest profit margin things. And just by having repeat customers, we would make a fortune off these people. And they'd be super, super happy because they'd always get what they wanted. So waiters in general, just magnificent relationship sales associates. So at this point, my current boss looks defeated. The district manager is absolutely pleased as punch. And the HR rep is very, very happy. And all of them are blown away because they have never heard someone come up with this excuse. Normally it's like, well, I would put an ad in the ad papers and we would try and get the good salesman. And that's a perfectly acceptable answer. Like that is a way to get a that is a way to get new associates, is to put out employment ads. They do work. They're not great, and a lot of times the associate pool that you're pulling from isn't the best. But the restaurant thing works 100%. It works. I know from personal experience it works really well. And so yeah, surprisingly enough, the one of the ASM positions I was interviewing for was the ASM at the store I was working at. For some bizarre reason, I didn't get that position. But I quit shortly after that because of some other stuff that happened that was massively stupid. But I was told after I quit that they had a store that they were going to give me an ASM position in. They were just waiting for stuff to fall into place, and I just quit before they could give me a store. So anyway, yeah. I don't even remember why I started telling that story anymore. Like I said, guys, I'm really sick right now, so it's weird. Anyway, that's all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right. Bye-bye.